Hello, everyone. My name is Michaela Madrid, and I am on staff here with the Sovereign Bodies Institute. Today, we are really excited to have a great conversation with Jessica Smith. Jessica Smith is a member of our Survivors Leadership Council, and this month, for Trafficking Awareness Month, we're doing a series of awareness events, including our Meet the Survivors with a live Q&A. So with that, I'd like to welcome Jessica to come on screen.
Thank you, Michaela. Bonjour, Girigan Kuntz, Nindijikas. My name is Jessica Smith. I am a Two-Spirit member of the Boys Fort Band of the Minnesota Chippewa tribe. I am a member of the Sovereign Bodies Survivor Leadership Council, and I'm also a team member on their research team. What brings me here today is it's Trafficking Awareness Month, and we're just kind of going to give you, a little overrun of all our stories. My story today and what I'm going to talk about mainly is going to be centered around internet safety and the grooming that happens on social media. Because I was groomed via Facebook, that is something that I really feel strongly about educating people on those dangers, and then also having parents being aware that this is really happening. It happened to me, it's happening to our people all across the country, and it's something that, because happens behind screens, that goes unnoticed. And so that's what kind of my talk today is going to be about, to kind of bring some of these things to light, and also tell you a little bit about my story and how I kind of fell into the trafficking trap. So I'll just say this first, I do want to give a trigger warning. I'm gonna keep this pretty much PG-13 because I did invite parents and their children both to this conversation. So I will not be, telling any details of my trafficking or what happened while I was being trafficked. Just because I want our younger audience to be able to learn from this, but not be feeling scared or traumatized or anything like that. I just really want this to be a healthy conversation that parents and children can come to and to learn from. So I'll just start with kind of what happened with me. I grew up around a lot of domestic violence, and I had a really rough upbringing, rough childhood. So that led me into, a lot of kind of alcohol and drug use in my teen years. And then I had some really bad trauma that I'm not going to speak about on this webinar. But, it put me in a really dark place. And at that time, I was on Facebook, and you could tell, by my posts that, I was not doing well mentally, that I was vulnerable, I was, depressed, I was drinking, all of those things that traffickers look for in people on these social media sites. They will look for young women, boys, girls who are experiencing, any type of life trauma or anything that makes them look vulnerable. As soon as you look vulnerable on social media, traffickers will take full advantage of that. I started talking to this man via Facebook Messenger, and he, at first it was just some good conversation. He told me I was beautiful, all of this, and those are things that I at that time, because of the vulnerability and the, heartbreak and everything that I was going through at that time, those were good things to hear. Like all of that sweet talk and coercion, and essentially they were all lies. But because my mind wasn't right, I was under the influence most of the time. Throughout that entire period, it was about, I would say, 6 to 8 months of going back and forth on Facebook, and then talking with each other on the phone. And I really thought that this man was kind of my boyfriend. And he made me a lot of like fake promises and things like that. And um my daughter was going with her dad for the summer, so he decided that he wanted to fly me to be with him. So I fell for it. And I went out there, and it wasn't what he said it was. Not at all. It was a very, very horrible situation. I probably should have died several times while I was there. Um, and then my mom got me back home. And even after that, like I didn't realize that I was a victim of human trafficking until I started going back to school. I kept all of that hurt and pain and trauma kind of buried deep down inside of me. And I went back to school. I'm a student at University of Wisconsin Superior. I'm a legal studies student, First Nation studies minor. And I picked up an independent study, and I started researching missing and murdered Indigenous women. And I came across Anita's research and, Sovereign Bodies work. And then all of my research within that first independent study that I did, things started clicking in my head. And I came to the realization that, hey, this happened to me. I was sex trafficked. And at first, even throughout my first presentation of that research, I didn't tell anybody that, because I felt ashamed, and I also felt scared. And even now, it's still scary to talk about it. I don't say anybody's name. I don't really, say anything, just simply because I don't feel safe doing that. But I came out within an email to my advisor, and I told her that I was a survivor of human trafficking. And then at the press conference last year for Duluth Human Trafficking Awareness Month, I sat in the back of the room, and then there was about 100 people in the room, all press, everything. So something inside of me told me that I needed to get up and say something. And I walked up to the stage and took the microphone, and I told my story in front of that entire room of 100 people. All of the press were there from the Twin Ports here in Minnesota. And then I turned around and looked at Pete Stauber and asked him if he was supporting Savannah's Act. And then I kind of, after that, I went back and sat down. In that moment, I felt like there was 100,000 pounds of weight lifted off my shoulders, because that was something that I had been holding inside for a very long time. That was really debilitating me and my ability to grow and to continue to learn and learn about these things, and then use my experience to teach others. And hopefully, somebody will learn something from me, and that so that this will not happen to them. So one thing that I just recently started doing was um, TikTok. And that's a big thing that I want to talk about today because there are a lot of children on TikTok. And the thing I've been on TikTok for about 3 weeks now, and the things that I've seen on there are completely mind blowing. And there's no control over it. There's a lot of sexual activity that comes through it's called your For You page. Um, there's a lot of sexual activity that goes through there. And then there's a lot of youth that are making very sexualized videos. So for me, like, I watch my daughter's TikToks. Obviously, I'm not going to allow that. So I do encourage you, if your child is on TikTok, to be paying attention to the content that they're putting out there, because there is a lot of predators on that app. There's so many different dimensions to the app that it's kind of confusing, because one minute you're on this funny TikTok video, and the next it's a complete sexual video. And then there's also a side of TikTok that's called sugar daddy TikTok, and that's where the traffickers come in. um these men are on there flashing their money around, and trying to get these women to come into their life and do whatever, and pay them for whatever. But that's a huge red flag for me, that whole side of TikTok. And just because I know personally, like, that type of behavior and that demeanor of a man flashing his money around online, that's to me, that's a red flag, that's a trafficker, that's a predator. And there's a lot of it on TikTok. um Also, there is a lot of bullying and a lot of really, really mean people on TikTok. And I've seen youth's videos pop through my For You page. Last night I seen one, and it was a girl crying, and said something about her boyfriend or whatever, but her arms were completely cut up. And as a mother, seeing that type of thing, it really hurts me, because I think about where what's happening in this girl's life that her parents aren't there. Why is she making these TikTok videos of herself cutting? um so I think there's a lot more to, just online safety and monitoring who your child is talking to. Um, but it's also, being active in your children's life. I have never been the perfect parent. Obviously, I will accept that. I've never been the perfect parent. I struggled a lot with alcoholism. But um, now that I am in the place where I'm at and I'm able to educate others, my daughter learns from me. I tell her straight up, I am really real with her about these dangers. I will show her pictures of missing girls, and I really keep it real with her. So I think that, age appropriate conversation is at, obviously the parent's discretion. Um, but a lot of these apps, like TikTok, Facebook, allow you to be on it at 13, but children are lying about their ages. And there's no way to verify that. So they're getting on a lot younger than that. Also, another thing is that there's a couple apps called one's called House Party. And what it does is, it allows people or children to chat with their friends and video chat, and they're all kind of in one room, kind of like a Zoom call, I guess, maybe. I don't know, I haven't been on it. But it's not monitored, and they can allow anybody in there, regardless if they know them or not. So that one I would definitely say no to. That's just my personal opinion. Um, and then one thing that I did also come across on TikTok the other night when I was in somebody's feed, uh, she was on this app called, and Omegle is an app that allows you to chat with strangers. You know, you're on, and then a random stranger will pop up, and then you can talk with them. Um, it Omegle is monitored because they have had um, problems with predators being on that app. So there is a disclosure when you first go to the site saying predators are known to be on this app, and yeah, it's I had never been on it. I don't really know, other than the other night on TikTok when I seen that girl on it. That was the first I've heard of that app. Um, and then, you know, Tinder. Tinder is technically 17 plus, but their privacy policy allows you to be on there when you're 13 plus, and it allows you to sign in via Facebook. So you don't have to have an email or anything like that. So if your child has Facebook, he or she or them, they can get onto Tinder, which is highly dangerous for children to be on because it gives your location. And then, you know, if you don't know what Tinder is, it's a dating app. You know, it gives your location and you swipe whether you like them. If you like them, then, you know, but there's like a lot of people who have gone missing and who have been sexually assaulted on Tinder dates via that type of dating app. So if you have, you know, a teenager, 17-year-old, even 18, 19, 20, young adult, be aware of these types of predators that are out there, because they will find any type of little vulnerability that you have, and they will take full advantage of it. It has, you know, it happened to me and it ripped my entire life apart. Took me almost 10 years to get my life back together and to where I'm at today. But um excuse me, take a breath. um I also just really, you know, one thing I wanted to talk about too was like, so many people think that, you know, that human trafficking is only looks like this or it only looks like that, you know, and it looks different for everybody. Everybody on our leadership council has different stories, and you'll meet all of them in future webinars like this month. Um, but with the most, you know, there was just an abduction in Washington, and the girl was coerced via social media. So I think now more than ever with the pandemic and with our children, you know, not having that ability to interact with others their age and, you know, go to school and be really out of the house essentially. They're online a lot more, and they are a lot more vulnerable, and the traffickers know that. And they are out there, they are looking for our children. I was on TikTok this morning and I seen a video that somebody commented on it, and the mother had replied to it, and the comment, it was a video of a little girl, 5-year-old girl in her birthday dress, you know, cute little girl. But the comment said dibs when she turns 18. So there's that type of people out there on these apps that are willing to comment that type of disgusting behavior right in the open for anybody to see. Imagine what's going on behind the screens, you know, in the inboxes. Snapchat, those snaps disappear. um, Snapchat is another huge one, because if you don't um, turn your child's location on to, set it to only like maybe you or a couple of family members can see. Every single person on their Snapchat can see their location at all times. So all it takes is for, one person to get on there and start talking to your child and make your child feel like, hey, this is my new boyfriend. This is my boyfriend. And then that's when it happens. That's how easy it is. So ways that, hang on, I'm gonna take a drink. Ways that we can really protect our children. Without being too, for me, I don't want to be too much in my daughter's business. I do trust her because I am very open with her about these dangers. She knows them well. I trust her not to be talking to people that she doesn't know. But we can look through who's following. Following is creepy. It's a creepy word when it comes to children to me. Your children on TikTok, the TikTok automatically is public unless you set it to private. So anything that your child is posting, anybody on the internet or anybody on that app can see, unless you go in there and change the settings to private, and then somebody has to request to be your friend. Same kind of thing on Facebook. But and then the messages on TikTok too. There's, if you have a lot of friends, like I've had TikTok for 3 weeks and I have 10,000 followers, and there's so many messages. It's just, you get one every single time you make a friend. So they're very hard to keep track of. But I think if for a parent of a young child, if you have problems or if you have worries that, your child may be talking with somebody you don't know or they don't know, go in there, go in there and look. And if there are different phones. If your child can't be trusted on these apps, it's not worth it. You're going to have a mad child at you. I would rather have my daughter mad at me and not want to talk to me than have her be taken by a trafficker. So I think, there's just these they may seem like little things that you can do, check your child's, make sure her location is off, make sure their location isn't on their Snapchat, little things like that. But then the biggest thing, is making them knowledgeable of it, showing them this video, that it's real, that it happens. It happened to me. I have scar on my face because I got my head slammed into a wall while I was being trafficked because I didn't want to do things that he wanted me to do. So, I mean, that's the very least PG-13 thing that I'll say about that. But it's a real scary danger, and it's a real reality for so many of our youth and young adults. And I think as a community and as a nation, we need to be looking out for each other. If you see somebody struggling, reach out to them. Even here at Sovereign Bodies, this is why we have the Leadership Council. If somebody is struggling or is dealing with any type of this, we have a crisis line that you can call. You can reach out to us and we will help you. And even if you need help, if you want some one-on-one help with your child and how to educate them on the dangers, I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to help anybody, as long as it, if it can help one person from not going through what I had to go through, I'm willing to do it no matter what. So that's really what, I take my life for now. That's kind of my purpose. I feel like is to protect our children and our people from these predators, because I know who they are. I know where they're lurking, and I know the type of behavior that they are using to reel our children in. And it's very scary, but it's very important to have these conversations with your children, because if you don't and they don't have any idea about it, they're going to think that this 14-year-old little boy from wherever really likes them. It makes them feel like they're beautiful, when really it's not a 14-year-old boy. It's a 20-some-year-old man, or even older, I've seen. It's very dangerous and scary and disgusting. I think that was pretty much all I had in my notes. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jessica. So as you all know, this is an interactive Q&A. So I encourage everybody who's watching the Facebook live stream to post your questions in the comments on the live video. So while we're waiting for those questions to come in, I did have a question for you, Jessica, and you've talked a little bit about it, but could you elaborate a little more on what some of the red flags are that someone might be a social trafficker on social media? Like, how can you tell when someone isn't who they say they are? What are some of the warning signs?
I would like, for me, like, personally, it's just like the the fake promises, things like that. Like, oh, hey, I could make you all of this, you can be a model, things like this. And that's not what it is. And even I've seen some things like, uh do you need to make some extra money or something like that? Like, like any type of I'm trying to find the right word. No, I want to say advertisement, almost advertisement, um of somebody, like, offering you money for anything. That's a huge red flag, no matter what. Anything that has to do with money, especially now in this pandemic, is so easy for people to get reeled into that. And even I've seen it on TikTok. People are advertising for um their sites that they go on to make money. And then with that sugar daddy TikTok, these guys are literally making videos of themselves with money and asking, for these girls. I seen one that said, I don't want anything, I just want you to be available when I come to your city. If I come to your city, you need to call off your job. Like that type of thing. And it's wide out there in the open, right on TikTok, and TikTok does nothing about it.
Thank you. So we do have a question from the Facebook Live. So the question is, what's your advice to someone who's in a situation like this and needs to get out? How can they get out?
In a trafficking situation,
Yes.
I think, it this is a hard one. It depends on the situation. If you don't feel safe where you're at, there are, like, I know there's so many different crisis lines and things that people can call, but depending on where you're at, and whether you're not or you can get out of the house. If you can get out of the house, there's places you can go. You could go to just like a regular, if you're going to the store, and have them call the national trafficking hotline, call the Strong Hearts Native Help hotline, call our crisis hotline. There's a lot of hotlines out there that will direct you to somebody who can help you immediately.
Yeah, and we do have those numbers posted in the comments of this video. So if anyone's watching and it needs to access those, please do take advantage of that. So Jessica, what advice would you give to someone who oh, sorry, I missed my read the wrong question. So what is your advice for survivors who want to share their story but are scared that revealing too much could put them in danger?
With that, you just have to go with your heart. Um, I think for me, it took many years for me to be able to come out publicly about it. And even now, it's still scary. It's still, every time I get on one of these things and talk about it, it's scary. But with, with the way things are right now, I don't feel like, I don't have a fear that my trafficker is going to come after me because I'm speaking here. Um, I think there's levels to it, and it takes a lot of support and inner healing to be able to talk about it. And if it honestly, like, if I didn't have the Survivor Leadership Council, and if I hadn't met Anita, I don't wouldn't be here talking today. I probably would still, be doing my own schoolwork by myself and dealing with that, still trying to deal with that trauma and heal that. So having a support system is key, I think. Even if it's, just your family or your inner circle, or, reach out to us. That's what we're here for, is to support survivors. So I think just having that safety net first, and foremost, so that you feel safe, and that you have somebody to turn to when those emotions get rough, because they do, they really do. So having people to stand by you and be by your side, or be at, your phone call, when you need them, is probably the most crucial and important part for my healing. And that would be the best thing that I would recommend for anybody who's wanting to start talking about it.
Beautiful. Yeah, it's so important to have that support system, and I'm really grateful that you were able to find that.
Yeah.
So we've got another question. Could you talk about how traffickers use substances along with trafficking?
Yeah. That's another big one. And I think there's other women on our leadership council who have, dealt with that substance abuse aspect of trafficking, a little bit more than mine. Mine was more alcohol based, but even that, um, that's an addiction, and if somebody's gets you addicted, or if they already know you are already addicted to it, that's an easy way for them to get you and to keep you in their grasp, or in their control. That's how, my trafficker got me to, stay with him, for as long as I did. Because sometimes, we went out and had fun. We went out drinking and having fun. Um, so there's ways that, these people know that uh, people do get involved with that, with the drugs and alcohol, and makes it a lot more easier for them to keep you in their control. Um, that's a huge risk factor. You're on mute.
20, I guess it's 2021 problems now. So what advice would you give, and you talked about this a little bit earlier, but what advice would you give to someone who suspects that a loved one might be in a dangerous situation? Do you think it's important to intervene directly or to maybe take a more subtle approach?
Um, I would say it depends on your relationship with that person. You know, if it's one of your children, or if it's one of your close sisters or friends, then I would say it's okay to intervene directly. Um, but if it's not somebody that's close with you, or if it's somebody that can easily, push you off, or push you off to the side and like block you or delete you and then not talk to you again, then I would suggest going like a different route and trying to do that. Um, I want to say family intervention, probably talking with their immediate family first, because if you don't have that personal relationship with them, and then you come at them with something like that, they're going to feel attacked, and then they're going to pull back. So that wouldn't be a good tactic to use if you don't have a good relationship with them to begin with.
Right. And so somebody mentioned that this is such a huge issue and it's really a national issue and we really need to work together as a nation. So what does that look like to you? What would a national movement against grooming look like?
Um, I think uh, for like a national movement for against online grooming, um, we just need to be making our presence known more. Maybe start a group that specifically set out to go onto these sites to monitor, for red flags, and then report that. But even that, you see, like I've been on TikTok for 3 weeks, and I've seen not everything, but I've seen way too much, and so many things that I don't want to see. Um, but I've learned a lot, and I'm glad that I started it, because now I can be more active in what my child is doing on there, because she was on there before I was, but she wasn't doing anything. Like I monitored that. But um I think even with TikTok though, like I seen something, somebody was like posting videos about them being assaulted, sexually assaulted, and kind of outing the person who did it, and it must have somebody reported it, whatever, but that got taken down. So I think these, like, they're taking down content that's outing people, but then they're keeping up this sugar daddy content and all this sexual content. So I think a nationwide, what do you want to call it, group to get together, to, I guess you want to call it neighborhood watch, maybe, or we'd have to call it internet watch. Just to be on there and be vigilant and be looking out for these signs, like that little girl's video that I ran across the other day or yesterday. It broke my heart, like seeing that. And I wish I would have known who she was, because I would have, I would try to help her. Um, so I think, within everybody's community, if we're on these sites, we are going to recognize these people. So if we had somebody, our nationwide, and there's a huge group of people that want to go on these sites and start monitoring it, people are going to get noticed. They are going to get recognized, and they're going to get called out.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. Um, so yeah, so I think we're at the end of our questions, unless anyone wants to post. But I just wanted to give you a chance. Is there any closing thoughts or closing words that you'd like to leave everybody with?
Um, I don't think so. I just would really like to reiterate the fact that, um, if anybody does have questions to further on, or needs help, if with your child, or you want me to like tell your child more about my trafficking story that wasn't on here, because they're not getting it or they don't understand, you know, I'm always willing to do that. I will always go out of my way to help others and to bring awareness to these dark issues on the internet. If I can save one person, I will go a million miles to save one person.
Mm, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Jessica. I know how difficult it is to come on and kind of share your experiences like this, and you're such a warrior and a survivor leader, and we're just really blessed to have you here at SBI. So, like I said at the beginning, this is part of our Trafficking Awareness Month series. So, we'll be doing these Meet the Survivor sessions every week. Our next one's going to be next Wednesday at 5:30. We also have a host of webinars coming up, so please keep an eye on our social media, and please get in touch too if you are in a situation that you need help. We're absolutely here to support you. So thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.